Welcome to Design Loyalty, Scale with Heart. Discover the 3 experience upgrades your business is missing. I am Coco Zalman, 5-time founder, impact investor, and creator of the Force for Good system. Today, we are talking about one of the most important topics related to growing and scaling your company of impact. I invite you to consider the experience your customers are having. Is your customer experience truly remarkable? Do your team members regularly turn routine moments into unforgettable ones? What would it take for your customer experience to become your best marketing channel? And what if just 3 experience upgrades, big enough to matter, small enough to execute, could transform your growth trajectory this quarter? Today, that is our topic. We are talking about the 3 customer experience improvements that can help you elevate connection with everyone you serve. So, who is your customer? In the Force for Good system, we invite you to always consider the many constituents of your company: your customers, your team members, your partners, your vendors, your investors, your industry, the local community, larger community, and the world at large. Focus in on your most critical, and typically those most critical audiences are your clients and your team members. Your clients are the customer that you exchange money for your services. Your team members exchange time, energy, and belief for a shared purpose. We invite you to see your customer experience as one that directly serves both your clients and your team. What is customer experience? Customer experience is the total perception a customer, client, or team member has of your company based on every interaction they have before, during, and after purchase. It's not just about what you sell, it's about how people feel when they engage with your brand, your team, your service, your values. A great customer experience builds loyalty, trust, and advocacy. A poor customer experience, often subtle or unintentional, can quietly erode growth, even when your product is strong. Customer experience is the emotional journey your company creates, one touch point at a time. Founders often struggle to create a remarkable customer experience. At first, it's overwhelming because there are so many touch points. We give up on the customer journey before we even get started. We just try to get the basics handled, get the product, get the service, get it out, however we can. It's hard to think about customer experience because we worry that there's just too much. The team is already overloaded. You're wearing lots of hats. Your team's wearing lots of hats. How do you stop and think about these nebulous moments of your customer? And there's also oftentimes not yet the systems in place to empower consistency. The way we approach customer experience within the Force for Good model invites you to embark on just 3 changes at a time, which make it possible to radically elevate without overwhelm. 3 changes at a time. If every quarter you have 3, over time, you will build a remarkable experience. If you don't start somewhere, you will never get there. This exercise today will help you see where the improvements will matter the most, and it will actually be fun to implement them for your team as well as for your clients. What are the 3 customer experience improvements within the Force for Good model? Within the Force for Good model, 3 customer experience improvements is one of our core growth elements. Every core growth element is designed to spark exponential growth. Having 3 customer experience improvements is a continuous, purpose-driven practice of actively selecting and implementing 3 high-impact ways to enhance the experiences of both your clients and teammates over time. This cycle of improvement keeps your company alive, aligned, and evolving. As one improvement is completed, another is added, creating a steady rhythm of innovation, care, and cultural vitality. Your company is a living, breathing organism. It requires attention and oxygen to prosper. 3 customer experience improvements help you stay at the forefront of those who serve and always be listening and understanding how we can do better. Today's focus is on the 3 customer experience improvements. We're going to use the 3 customer experience improvements selector. In our workshop, we have 3 goals. Use the selector, define your 3 customer experience improvements, and identify a habit and an action that will activate those 3 customer experience improvements. You will embark on creating remarkable experiences for your team members and your clients. If you haven't already, go ahead and download the 3 customer experience improvement selector, which you can find this week at aforceforgood.biz/weekly-tool. It's also available when you buy the book, A Force for Good. It's part of the toolkit that you get when you buy the book. Where does this fit on the 4-page growth plan? The 4-page growth plan is really the center of our ability to grow. It helps us answer the question, how do we create success? What would make success the only outcome? By using this 4-page plan and gathering these nuggets of wisdom with each of the core growth elements, that we unlock the puzzle of growth. Today, we are focused on this idea of 3 customer experience improvements. And it's on the bottom right hand of the first page. And under the Know Who You Serve section, as we said before, you have 2 audiences. You have your clients that exchange money for transformation, and you have your team who exchange beliefs and effort for belonging. It's important to understand that great companies improve both experiences continuously. In my experience, if you keep those 2 things separate, you never get around to your team. You always focus on the client. It's important to embed them together because they actually perpetuate one another. It also elevates the value of every member of your team. It's saying, you team member, you matter so much that we're always going to be focused on elevating the experience we are delivering to you. When we address both, it shows to our team members that we see them just as importantly and as valuable as we see the client. It creates a culture of care from inside and to out. Why you need 3 customer experience improvements? Okay, so I like to think customer experience like being on a raft out at sea. You could swim out and be right in front of the Ritz-Carlton. The sun is shining, all is well. But if you stop paying attention and you stop improving over time, you'll find that you're downstream of the Ritz-Carlton. You're no longer present in the mind of your customers and you've lost traction. Continuously looking at where you can improve the experience of your customers, both your clients and your team, you will be more likely to keep them. Without it, you will be losing them. You also need it because your culture will be shaped with or without you. If you are not intentional with how you're building the culture of your team and your clients, then something else will emerge and it won't be good because unconsciously we all have fears. So it creates negativity without even knowing it. But when you focus on what it is that you want to create, and then you actively do 3 things at a time, you make promises and you fill them. You make promises and you fill them. This creates a positive culture that people want to belong. Stalled growth is often an experience problem. You might have a great product, but if you don't know what's really happening with your customer and where they are getting disconnected from you, then your growth is going to be limited. Emotional resonance drives profitability. People will stay if they feel connected to you, if they feel a sense of purpose, belonging, success, prosperity. It's through the customer experience that they get to actually have that. It creates a company people cherish. Don't you want to create a business that customers and team members love? Don't you want to create that place where people talk about what a great company is and what a unique culture it has? Don't you want to have a company where your employees will thrive? And then in all future situations, we'll look back and say, that was the best company, best position, best job I ever had. It is through 3 improvements at a time you can get there. Mistakes to avoid. Treating customer experience as a one-time project rather than a living habit. Another core growth element is the 17-step customer journey. If you haven't done that masterclass, you may want to, but it's like saying doing that once is when you're done. You want to be always relooking at your journey because things change. New triggers are happening in the market all the time. New worries are happening with your employees and your team members. Being able to stay fresh helps everyone stay engaged. Only improving for paying customers and not team members is another big mistake. It speaks volumes about what we actually value. It's a big mistake to put them separately and never get around to the team. The other mistakes we want to avoid is optimizing for process over emotion. So we look at process and we look at efficiency, right? We want that. However, it's important we also gauge where the emotional stake is, because if the emotional connection is high, it might be worth whatever the cost of connection is. I'm not saying every time, but it is worth noticing and seeing if you can make it work. Also, a mistake to avoid is to assume that you know what people want without asking, trying things out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. In my company, Illume, we tried out a lot of things. One of the customer experience improvements we did was to have homemade cookies during orientation. We discovered that people really loved that. Another customer experience improvement that we had was we offered a stipend that they could use every month towards wellness. We found that everybody was excited about it, but nobody used it. Out of 300 employees, we had 2 or 3 that would actually take up and go and get themselves a gym membership and use their stipend. So you don't know until you ask, till you try it out. Once you try it out, you can make decisions about which customer improvements are most important. The thing to remember is that even satisfied customers and high-performing team members may quietly disengage if their experience with your company stagnates. I see this happen as companies grow, especially because that level of excitement and connection early on in the culture might have a certain flavor and feel. If that doesn't stay fresh, your team members will start to feel like this isn't that special anymore and somebody else can pay me more, so I'm just going to go. Or your customers start to feel like, yeah, I used to be really important and valuable and I used to be important, but now I'm not. And so I don't need to stay. This is why it's so critical that you stay engaged in 3 areas of improvement for your customer at all times. What do I mean by improvements? When you see in the Selector that you download, there's a bunch of examples for customer improvements. It could be customer milestone celebrations. So whatever their milestones are, what is the transformation you're helping them with? In our Savvy Kids example, it's the kid being able to get closer and closer, finally tie the shoes. With a Force for Good, it's their first 4-page growth plan done. It's having a celebration when they see their 10% increase in revenues, or when they have that exponential growth, when they double their monthly revenue. These are examples of ways that you could build into your system customer milestone celebrations. The next one is simplified billing and invoicing. This is a point of pain for your customer, and it's creating friction. Then this could be a place that you can make improvements. Another offer here is client-only strategy sessions. So every business is different. We haven't talked about growth models yet, but average revenue per customer, if you have less than $100, you probably aren't going to be able to offer client-only strategy sessions, but maybe you could add to a group of them all at once. But these are ways for you to reach out and add value. What are ways you could do post-purchase thank yous? We did this with Illume. We had a whole series for our customers and for our team members. Thank you for being our customer. Thank you for being our team member. It involved a series of steps where you would hear from your case manager, your scheduler, thank you. You would hear from the administrator, thank you. You would hear from me, the owner, thank you. And there would be different moments along the way when those would show up, and all different kinds of ways to make sure we checked back to make sure they were happy and well. The system we designed for our team was even more elaborate. So there could also be a customer education series. These are different things to help them experience the transformation that they're hoping to experience and that you promise to deliver. For team improvements, there's so many wonderful things you can do for teams, right? Highly recommend having a 90-day onboarding redesign. If you don't hire that many people and you aren't planning to hire anybody soon, then doing this right now may not be your most important thing. But if you are hiring people actively, this is so important. Having an experience where they have everything they need. The retention rates and success rates of employees who have a very clear and powerful 90-day onboarding experience it's like 3 times as many, the percentage of retention after a year. So 90-day onboarding for both customers and team members, low-hanging fruit. Perhaps values-based orientation journey, voice of the team surveys, weekly team in-back stories, monthly mental health check-ins. These are just some of the ideas. So ask yourself right now, which 3 experience upgrades, big enough to matter, small enough to execute, would transform your growth trajectory this quarter? Think about some that would involve your team and some that would involve your clients. If you have a very small team, think about what would support you, the founder. The power of 3. Why 3? Simple. You and your team can remember you can implement 3. 3 is enough to focus attention. You may even decide 3 is too many and you could just do 1. That's okay too. A single improvement can reduce churn. Focus is what's most important. When we're scattered, we don't do our best work and we don't do the work that ends up creating results. So having just 3 gives us the power to reduce churn and see results. 3 can shift culture, retention, and growth velocity. Start with 3, big enough to matter, small enough to execute, powerful enough to transform. Is that exciting? I think it is. We're going to move into the 3 customer experience improvement selectors. Now, we're going to brainstorm possible improvements. We're going to measure impact and resources. We're going to plot those improvements, prioritize those improvements, and select 3 improvements. Go ahead, pull out the Selector if you haven't already. We are going to use the Savvy Kids example. So Savvy Kids has different types of products that help children learn. The first product to market is shoelaces. Shoelace is designed to help kids in preschool and kindergarten learn how to tie their shoes and feel good about themselves as they do it. When you look at the 3 experience improvement selector, there's a whole bunch of examples. Client experience as well as team members. It's a great place to get some ideas. So let's go ahead and get to the first section. I'm going to invite you to brainstorm. On the next page, you're going to brainstorm. So in the first column, you are going to come up with 10 or so ideas for the client-facing experience and 10 or so ideas for the team-facing improvements experience. I'm going to read to you some questions to help you get your ideas going, and then we'll talk about some of the ideas that Savvy Kids customer thought about. What new ideas do you have to attract prospective customers? What ideas do you have to give prospective customers remarkable experiences at your company? What new or improved ways could you enroll a prospect to become a customer? What new ideas do you have to create remarkable experience while your customer is being onboarded? How could you improve the experience of signing agreements, invoicing, and collecting payments? How could you better align with customer wants, needs, and preferences? How could you improve the process and experience of delivering the product or service to your customer? How could you improve the process and experience of resolving customer problems and complaints? What would create a wow experience for your customer? What would celebrate their journey? What would help you celebrate their transformation, their success? What would help them feel seen, celebrated, valued? What would make every customer feel as though they must be the most important customer to your company? Don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to do them all at once. Next question is regarding your precious, blessed team. And by the way, this involves you. You are part of your team. What new ideas do you have to attract prospective teammates? Especially if you're always needing new people. Ways to attract them. What new ideas do you have to give prospective teammates remarkable experiences of your company before they're hired? What new ideas do you have to invite or enroll a prospective hire to become a member of your team? Think about how you could do it in a way that is special, unique, helping them feel like they're important, they're valuable. What new ideas do you have to create a remarkable orientation and onboarding experience in the first 90 days of a new team member? And by the way, you can do this now with all your team members. You can do a 90-day onboarding reset. How could you improve the experience of initial hire paperwork, setting up payroll, and offering them benefits? What would make this initial experience remarkable? How could you improve the experience of coming to work each day? Whether they're virtual or in a location, what would make coming to work every day more culturally intentional? What are those 3 feelings you want to cultivate? Yet another core growth element, but what would be the things you'd want them to feel coming to work every day? How could you improve team member retention, engagement, and satisfaction? How can you empower them, acknowledge them, give them opportunities to advance, learn, and grow? I'm sure you've got lots of great ideas. You can return to the prior pages for some ideas to get your mind jogging. For savvy kids, the list is very different for an ABC company. It's also different for a Force for Good. It's different for a Lume. Every single one of these is going to be a unique blueprint. Your company is not going to sound like Savvy Kids because Savvy Kids is a different company than yours. But this will give you some ideas. This is for the client. Again, this is for kids who are trying to learn to tie their shoes. First 30 days of trying. It's an activity kit that comes with purchase. Includes stickers, progress chart, and a printed guide. So this is something you're thinking about. Parent dashboard to track child's progress. Another idea is a video series. Pearl, who happens to be the little girl that is part of our shared avatar, Pearl learns to tie. Child-led short clips showing milestones. Could be the welcome card with Pearl's story and QR code to video welcome from the team. Could be quarterly parent tips newsletter with skill building ideas. Could be a surprise and delight. The milestone gift sent after photo share. It could be a printable certificate of independence after shoelace mastery. It could be simple, mobile-friendly reordering system. It could be the voice of the customer, 3-question survey sent post-purchase. Those are some of the ideas that Savvy Kids had on their list. For team facing, milestone, commissions, celebration boxes. In their company, they have all these mostly moms who are the sales force of Savvy Kids. Special boxes get sent out after they've sold 25, 50, and 100. There could be a monthly super savvy spotlight celebrating one of those team members. Could be a flexible Friday power lunch. So monthly fun Friday lunches to co-work, share, and have lunch provided. The next one is Your Dream Funded. This is a mini grant program they wanted to offer to their employees. $50 monthly grant to any team member to support a personal dream or community project. Like that might be great for your company. Depends on your culture, right? Choose your own adventure rewards. Reps choose from a menu of thank you options for reaching specific goals. This is another idea. Heart wall of gratitude. Digital collage of love notes for team members to hear positive things they've heard from their customers. Values-driven quarterly retreats, a time of purpose-led awards, recognition, storytelling, and planning, where they can come together and think about the next quarter. Hopefully you have brainstormed a bunch, and now you're ready to go to the next section, part 2. Measure the impact and resources. For each of your ideas of different improvements you could make, ask, what's the impact? What would the level of impact be to your customer or employee experience? Think about impact overall. How much of an impact is going to have on your bigger picture? If you have a 12-month breakthrough goal, something you want to achieve over the next 12 months, which of these improvements is most dramatically going to help you with that impact? Scale it 1 to 4, 1 being low, 4 being very transformative and impactful. The second area we want to think about is resources. How much resources is it going to be? What's the level of time, hours, financial investment that would be required to implement this particular ideas? Some improvements are quick and easy. Other ideas will take more energy, time, and focus. Rate each of these from 1 to 4, 1 requiring the least resources and 4 being extremely resource intensive. So 1 to 4. Then we go to part 3. Part 3 is where you take what's on the list and move them into these quadrants. The first quadrant is implementation of an improvement that's high impact. So it gets 3 or 4 for impact, and it has low resources. It has a 1 or a 2 for resources. So you're going to list all of those improvement ideas. Then you're going to find the ones in the second quadrant on the top right quadrant, high impact, the score of 3 or 4, but it also has high resource requirements. So those take more energy and time and have a 3 or a 4 as well. So then you're going to find in the bottom lower corner, lower impact and lower resource improvement. This is where you have 1s and 2s for impact and 1s and 2s for resources. The last quadrant are the ones that have 1s or 2s for impact, low impact, and high resources, 3 and 4. So you can start to see quickly, I don't really want to do the things that are low impact, whether they have low resources or not. You can quickly identify the ones you don't want, and you can start to look and see the ones in the top that you want to think about, which ones are most likely for you. Step 4, you're prioritizing. In general, I'll say you're first going to focus on the top left-hand corner of those things that are high impact, low resource. Sometimes you might also draw from the top right where you have high impact and high resource improvements. For example, maybe you have a very important product that you've been working on and need to bring to market. That is a high resource thing. You will occasionally need to invest time and energy into those things that are higher resources. This is best done with your team, where you can talk together about all these ideas and come up with what you believe is going to have the biggest impact. It could be that you step away and do an exercise where you query your team members and query your constituents and find out what they think too. Once you've gone through and focused on prioritizing, you go ahead and move to the last page. So by a particular date, so in this case, by October 1st, 2025, we would like to make these 3 improvements. What would those improvements be? In the case of Savvy Shoelaces, they decided that the choose your own adventure rewards would be really important and strategic to help them meet their 12-month breakthrough and also help them in getting their team to focus in the ways they most want with the client. They also decided to do the welcome card with Pearl Story and QR code with a video welcome from the team. They decided that would be really important to have. And they also felt that the other piece, the first 30 days of tying activity kit with the purchase, would be good to have. So you've got a blend of what you're doing for your clients and for your team in the selection. You could see how together these new improvements would radically shift the experience of the customer in both the mind of the client and the team member. And also think about how fun it will be for your team to implement all 3 of these. So that's another area I invite you to focus on is improvements that are going to inspire your team, create fun and excitement. So now go ahead and put these 3 improvements onto your 4-page growth plan. Let's celebrate your wins. Now you've completed 3 customer improvements. You've reconnected with your purpose of service. You've identified tangible ways to elevate loyalty and culture. You've clarified priorities that energize your team. You've aligned growth with care. You've identified 3 experience upgrades that can transform your company and really make a difference in your growth trajectory this quarter. Build a company beloved by customers and team members alike. Do that, and it will create a business that scales. Update your 4-page growth plan. Go to the bottom of the first page and update it. As you're looking at your 4-page plan, it may show you other things you're curious about. We talked about the journey of the customer today, the 3 feelings to cultivate. You may want to define who they are and what they need. Maybe it's now helping you think more about your purpose, your vision, your values. So use this moment to, as you've considered 3 customer experience improvements, see how you might evolve everything else on your 4-page plan to meet the needs of your customer. Let's put your 3 customer experience improvements into action. First, with a habit. What are high leverage habits? They're repetitive practices that all but guarantee breakthrough results. What habit could help you focus and your team focus on the 3 customer experience improvements you just chose? So here's some examples. You could add your customer experience improvements review to your monthly dashboard meeting. Put it right into your agenda. You could begin every team meeting with, who did we serve well this week? You could use a feedback pulse survey every 30 days. You could review improvement progress quarterly. You could celebrate one small win in every Monday huddle. Identify a habit that would ensure you have success with your 3 new customer experience improvements. Another idea would be to identify one person, not you, to be in charge of each improvement. Sue, Larry, and Bob. Right? And they are assigned to set up a weekly meeting with 2 or 3 other people on their team to help them complete this high leverage habit by the date. Small improvements consistently executed create legendary experiences. The other thing you can do is identify high potency action. It's a one-time catalytic action that creates measurable transformation. What's one thing you could do this week to activate customer experience improvements in your culture? Assign one leader per improvement, set a time in the next 7 days to meet and create a plan for each improvement, create an action plan for each of the 3 improvements, announce your 3 chosen improvements, add the 3 experience improvements to your weekly, monthly, and quarterly meeting agenda. These are things you can do to set it up so that the customer experiences can't fail. Success is the only outcome because you set it up that way. What you choose to improve reveals what you value. Choose with intention and lead with care. It will pay dividends. So we did a lot today. You defined 3 customer experience improvements. You used the Selector. You integrated the 3 experience improvements into your 4-page growth plan. You identified a new habit to make sure customer experience improvements is part of your everyday life. You committed to a high potency action to get it off the ground. And you reconnected to culture as a growth strategy. You're ready to scale a business people cherish inside and out. Isn't that exciting? What's next? I encourage you to pick up a copy of the book, A Force for Good, if you already have it. I encourage you to go to chapter 7. You're going to see more information about customer experience there, and you'll find the customer experience improvements in that section. You'll also gain access to the full Force for Good toolkit. You'll get all of the PDFs for the tools. And the tools themselves have instructions inside of them. Together, you have everything you need to install this elevated model of exponential growth. Keep asking the question, what would make success the only possible outcome? Use these tools to help you figure out the answer. Next, you can get the tool of the week. Each week, you get a new tool and a masterclass for free for a week, and then you can improve your overall 4-page growth plan. Your wisdom to create exponential growth. Remember that the world is made better by women-led business. Let's all go make the world better.